Listen up. Blue Chew Gold is the answer. It has 4 powerful ingredients: sildenafil, tadalafil, apomorphine, and oxytocin. These 4 ingredients work together in your body to boost arousal and blood flow, which means you get harder erections and get in the mood. Plus, it dissolves quickly under your tongue, which means no more waiting around and no more performance anxiety, absolutely filling the mood. Grab a free month with any quarterly plan at bluechew.com. Let your girl know you're serious. If you've tried sildenafil or tadalafil, but you want something more powerful for your sex life, listen up. Blue Chew Gold is the answer. It has 4
have but can't keep. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. The reminders pull the floor
All right.
from your feet.
Let's get started. So I want to show you guys just the latest of where the cabinet's at. One thing you have to remember is a lot of news articles and stuff will put different opinions about like an opinion of a MP, member of parliament. Okay, you got to be careful with that. It's one article. You have to be careful trusting one article. And again, I'm just sharing this with you from 17 years of doing this. Let's get into this. So far, the cabinet of 9 pending remaining ministers has been outstanding now since May. Okay, May, June, July, August. Here we are in the 4th month of this pending outstanding. August is the first month that they've put the largest overall emphasis of working towards completing to get the cabinet done. So that gives us a better confidence in this getting done in August because of the more significant emphasis within this month. I mean, they've even said that their goal is to get the cabinet done by the end of August. They said that's their deadline to get the cabinet done is the end of August. Let's look at this real quick. First article here, it says the cabinet will be completed next week. In this one, MP from the Sadaquin parliamentary bloc confirmed today, Sunday, that the names of the candidates for the vacant ministerial portfolios will be announced next week. Okay, we'll see on that. And technically, here's the thing though, they're also saying next week. I want you to see that. Notice how, see, that's one of the things I want you guys to realize. I personally think that when they go to get the cabinet done, they're probably going to do the cabinet session of parliament closer to around Saturday the 22nd. Now, I want you to notice something here. The vacant ministerial portfolios will be announced next week. Okay, let's look up a calendar. Let's look at next week. Let's check that date range. Next week, because today's Sunday, and the article is dated today, 8/9. So next week means the week, like I told you in yesterday's news. Did I not tell you the week of the 19th? That is next week, the week of the 19th. So now they're starting to confirm to you exactly what I shared. Vacant ministerial portfolios to be announced next week, potentially maybe to vote on them. They haven't announced. It's just nothing more than an opinion. But maybe to be announced or to be voted on, not announced. Saturday, potentially the 22nd. But as you see, they're now starting to walk into the time frame I shared with you. Portfolios for the cabinet positions to be announced next week, just like we talked about yesterday when I said more of the week of the 19th. There you go. Okay. News is starting to become more accurate for you. Anyway, let's look at the rest of the news. I wanted you guys to see this. This is the most important news for today. Let's go to the beginning here. So, a package of legislation to address the crisis of Parliamentary Finance Committee. 6 draft laws to secure salaries, reduce the deficit, critical financial status, 6 legislative bills, international borrowing authority, ministerial briefing. Remember, they're going to have a gazillion more different revenue streams, all that when they go and become international. They're going to have full-blown taxation, tariffs, all their trade's going to be fully active. Their Escudia system will be fully active, so trade will be full throttle, ahead, moving. So everything will be going in the right direction. Anyway, good article. And I've strongly suggested to you guys why I feel the salaries haven't been paid yet. And remember, I put an emphasis on the salaries weeks ago, long before any other content creator noticed it and brought it to you. I said, you're going to want to watch this. I said, this is significant because we're entering a new budget period for the second half of the year, July through December. Okay. And as you see, that is exactly what happened. Okay. Other content creators haven't brought to your attention how significant budget periods really are. And I've told you there's 2 critical things that could prevent them from paying salaries in the second half of the year, assuming the rate's about to change and assuming a budget period is coming forward, okay? Or assuming a budget is coming forward for the second half of the year. I said the whole first half of the year they talked about needing to adjust pay scales. Well, pay scales are dependent on currency value. They talked about doing a mini budget for the second half of the year, July through December. If the rate's going to change, the budget is calculated on the currency value, but a budget is also needed to pay salaries if they're transitioning from the FML. Those would be the reasons why you possibly don't see a budget and why salaries haven't been paid, because the salaries would need a budget to pay from, and the salaries also need a correct pay scale, all dependent on what is the correct currency value. Let's move on. The Ministry of Oil receives a delegation from the American company Honeywell. Right here it says Nina News received a delegation from the American company Honeywell today, Sunday. The ministry stated in a press release that the meeting discussed strategic partnerships opportunity in the oil industry. Okay. Again, there isn't a lot of critical news today. There's just more good confirming news and a lot of filler news. I wanted you guys to see that. Okay. Ministry of Transport discusses key work issues at Iraqi ports and priorities for the next phase. Next phase means after the rate has changed, when Iraq is back on the world stage without being under U.S. sanctions. They're international. That's what next phase means, okay? So in the meeting, Ministry of Transport, they discuss key work issues at ports. Now remember, the Escudia system, they already told you, can't be finalized because it needs an oil agreement. What is the oil agreement? It's how money is balanced between the federal government and Kurdistan pending, in other words, the HCL agreement and implementation, okay? Once the HCL, it has pending amendments once they're approved and it's implemented, okay? That's when the Escudia system, so technically the Escudia system is waiting for the rate to change is what they're secretly telling you, because that's also what the HCL is waiting for, okay? So I chaired a meeting today, Sunday, General Company for Iraqi Ports to discuss the most prominent work files and projects on the company's agenda. The meeting was attended by the head of the Basra Provincial Council, reviewed the progress of projects, files under consideration, as well as the priorities for the next phase, with the aim of improving the company's performance and enhancing the level of services and operations at Iraqi ports. During the meeting, the minister emphasized the importance of monitoring priority projects and files and working to accelerate their completion in line with the ministry's plans and the aspirations of the next phase. Again, next phase means when they're out from underneath U.S. sanctions and international having revalued back on the world stage. When state coffers run low, will the digital dinar become a lifeline or a gateway to the new crisis? And guys, I want you to be careful with this. A lot of people do talk about a digital dinar coming forward. There hasn't ever really been any type of official about that by the Central Bank of Iraq. I want you to think about that carefully. The closest that again, I'm speaking from the angle of the central bank on this. The closest the central bank has talked about transitioning to digital, they stated that in the second half of this year from July forward, but yet they haven't given you an exact date. That the government institutions, not through the entire country, just government institutions, meaning government buildings, facilities, their transactions would transition to becoming electronic debit, not electronic crypto. Okay? As of right now, the central bank has not stated anything about actually going to a digital crypto dinar. So be careful assuming Iraq is that there's going to become like a crypto or dinar. Okay? It says with mounting financial pressures and declining revenues, the possibility of the Iraqi government resorting to a digital currency or adopting the digital one as of the option to address the crisis of financial employee salaries during the current months is once again being discussed. So again, it's just saying this is a discussion. Right now, that's it. Be careful assuming this is coming forward. Just be careful with that. So this is more talking about like a CBDC. The Central Bank of Iraq has not talked about that at all. So I just can't stress that enough. I've seen too many people assume in this space, like in yesterday's live video I did, there was a lot of assumptions that I had to correct and squash yesterday. All right, so we already talked about this, how they said they're going to announce the cabinet officials more next week, okay? That might allow them to put it to vote potentially Saturday the 22nd, like I've been telling you for weeks. July salaries remain unpaid. Yep, they do. We know that. And again, I suggested to you why salaries haven't been paid, and I gave you a huge emphasis on this weeks ago. It was screaming to me as a red flag because we're entering a new budget period. That suggests they might be transitioning from FML via payments, an FML pseudo budget, to a physical budget. But the physical budget would be waiting for a rate to change, and salary pay scales potentially need to be adjusted as well, like they kept talking to you about during the whole first half of the year through June. Okay, they don't have those yet, and salary pay scales cannot be amended and approved till the rates changed along with a 26 budget. Rate has to change, then they can approve that budget law. Okay, that hasn't happened, and notice how salaries haven't been paid. And in the second half of the year, it's magically a problem. Salaries were always paid during the first half of the years under the FML. Think about that, which is a pseudo budget. National Security Advisor: the government is proceeding with its efforts to restrict weapons and strengthen the economy and security. Okay, U.S. officials reveal ammunition withdrawals amid dwindling stockpiles. This has to do with the U.S. exiting the country. Again, they have to have all the troops and equipment pulled out by September 30th. Trump said we're not leaving till we get paid. All right. Hold on, guys. I'm looking at different things. Okay. Trump is considering lifting the naval blockade on Iran in exchange for opening the Strait of Hormuz and curbing its nuclear program. Again, that's a wait-and-see game between Trump and Iran. The House of Representatives held its session today, chaired by Al-Habousi. Let's see what they... We actually covered that yesterday, the They just worked on 3 new laws, nothing major. The laws were nothing of significance for you to even care about. Okay, they had nothing to do with the rate change or the economy or anything like that. Media communications. Starlink is an advanced satellite service and will not replace other traditional internet networks, meaning like local wired fiber optics and stuff like that. Identifying the causes of Iraq's financial crisis, a government advisor warns against relying on borrowing to pay salaries. We can check this out. Good old Mazhar Mohammed Saleh, the former number 2 guy of the central bank back during Shabibi. Economic advisor Mazhar Mohammed Saleh warned against relying on debt to finance operational expenditures like public salaries, identifying structural fiscal imbalances, delayed reforms, and oil market vulnerability as the primary causes of Iraq's financial crisis. Structural fiscal weakness. The financial crisis is driven by long-standing structural issues, including over-reliance on oil, inefficient tax customs collections, and slow implementation of administrative and financial reforms. Okay, see, the banking reforms, financial reforms, all that has to do with the rate changing. All these steps, all their next steps have to do with the rate changing. It's not a big secret, okay? They're just, in that article, they was basically saying borrowing is not the right route to go. The Minister of Finance speaks to the governor of the central bank about current circumstances. They require continuous coordination. So on this one, the finance minister spoke to the central bank governor about the current circumstances, which he said require continuous coordination. According to a statement issued by the Ministry of Finance, seen by Ultra Iraq News, governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, where the financial and economic situation was discussed in light of the current challenges. The minister stressed the current circumstances require continuous coordination between fiscal and monetary policy, which will help in managing financial flows efficiently and ensuring the fulfillment of the state's obligations while continuing to work on reforming the financial system and developing public finance management tools. He pointed to the importance of enhancing data exchanges between the Ministry of Finance and the central bank, accelerating digital transformation, which will raise the efficiency of financial institutions and support the ability to respond to economic changes. So anyway, the central bank operates according to a methodology that focuses on supporting monetary stability, developing banking operations, and keeping with the pace that needs national economy, stressing the importance of coordination and the Ministry of Finance on economic and financial issues. Okay, so there you go. They're about to go international change rate, and that's all this has everything to do with that. Okay. Good stuff. Everything's ramping up. They're getting ready to push the money change button. The countdown to the arms control, which again, arms control goes into effect September 30th. That's when all weapons have to be registered. I think their anti-terrorism law goes into effect. So the countdown to the arms control campaign has effectively begun. The director of Central Electricity Distribution Company assumes his duties and sets priorities for the next phase. The Ministry of Finance and the central bank agree on measures to enhance financial and monetary stability. Absolutely. They're about ready to revalue. The salary crisis is under discussion in Parliament. Yeah, imagine that. They haven't been paid. July salaries have not been paid yet. The finance minister is exploring ways to address the economic situation. Yeah, just go revalue your currency and get all of the secondary items that have to do with monetary stability implemented and in effect. Not a big deal. Let's look at this one right here. Will the central bank's funds be sufficient to cover salaries? And economist explains. Well, these are my comments right here. I said yes, after adjusting the salary scale and approving the 26 budget. Let's look at what the summary and review says. An economic expert stated that while Iraq's recent oil export revenues generated up to $3 billion, this is insufficient to fully cover state salaries, pensions, social welfare, and food assistance programs. To bridge the gap, the Ministry of Finance is reallocating funds from other budget items and utilizing domestic borrowing through the Central Bank of Iraq. Imagine that. But also, in the reality, guys, they're really waiting for the rate to change because they need all of this has to get funded, even to pay if they do borrow, which they did. They did borrow back when they were here around July 13th through the 18th, meeting with the Trump administration. They also got a loan, billions of dollars, straight from the IMF during that time. To pay back loans and stuff, all the money has to be routed through buckets within the budget, okay? So yeah, they need it. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. U.S. packs up air defenses as withdrawal deadline looms. Yeah, there's a few articles every so many days talking about the withdrawal of U.S. troops and equipment. Here's another one today. This is like the second one I've showed you regarding that. Good stuff there. Trump said we're not leaving till we get paid. And that's why right now it makes more sense for them to get paid mostly, through a revaluation and everything getting done within the month of August. That way, when they have everything removed, troops and personnel by the end of September 30th, it's nothing to think about. Okay. In this article, there really is 150 plus laws that have been pending forever, waiting for the rate change. Article 140, the HCL. But here they're saying Parliament intends to pass 50 laws in the current legislative session. There's a lot more than 50 laws. There's 150 plus. Okay. Iraq to start work on the first rail link to Iran. Kurdish rapprochement is it? Yeah, we don't care about that. That's more just Kurdish level. That's not federal government. Better parliamentary block here. Parliament action to resolve vacant ministerial posts in tomorrow's session. We'll see. And this article is actually from today, the 9th, but they're saying in tomorrow's session of Parliament. I want to show you something. I think I checked this earlier, and I don't think they actually have scheduled a session of Parliament for tomorrow, but we'll check. So here it is. Right here, as of now, these are the latest sessions, as you see. The most current session is today, Sunday the 8th. They do not have a scheduled session of Parliament for tomorrow, Monday, August 10th. They don't have that, okay? So again, you can't trust everything you read. Sometimes you got to go back to the facts and double check and verify. So here they're just saying that they're going to discuss ministerial posts in tomorrow's session, but they don't have a session scheduled for tomorrow. So time will tell on that. Doesn't seem to be accurate. Let's see. Here's an article talking about some additional new deputy PM positions they may have created. These have, I think these are separate. Yeah, these are separate from the Prime Minister. Here's what this is. This article, the title says 4 deputy PMs positions, state administration nears finalization of names. And here's, regarding that article, here's the agreed upon candidates for the 4 positions, okay? But if you look, here's the 9 remaining ministerial positions, okay? Obviously, interior defense, culture, construction. See, they don't actually have in there, they don't have one for reconstruction. They don't have one in there for economic affairs. So the 4 they're talking about are not real critical. These are just new positions that it appears that they've created, which are not sensitive to the timing of the rate change. Just, okay. Really, we need the cabinet done. So, and here's what they did in today's session of Parliament. Again, readings of 3 new laws we don't really care about, not real critical. Yesterday, they had a council session. They do that every Saturday. Council is not Parliament session. It was a council session with the Council of Ministers. That's his cabinet. Okay? Let's look at what they did in that. It says during the second session, PMZ, and he attends because it's his cabinet, so the Prime Minister does attend these. They're every Saturday. Used to be every Tuesday during former Prime Ministers. PMZ directs Monetary Stability Board. Okay, that's critical right there. Monetary Stability Board. Adopt practical solutions to financial challenges. Remember, he's One of his expertise is business and banking. So PMZ directed the council on Saturday to adopt practical solutions to address current financial and monetary challenges during the second session of the Financial and Monetary Stability Council. Let's look at the summary real quick. This report covers measures taken by the PM and the Iraqi government to address the country's ongoing financial challenges during a meeting of the Supreme Council for Financial Monetary Stability. High-level leadership. PMZ chaired the council's second official session alongside key financial, monetary, and economic officials. Core priorities. The meeting focused on aligning fiscal and monetary policies, boosting non-oil revenues, improving liquidity management, supporting banking system reforms to ensure long-term economic stability. A lot of what they're mentioning in here is actually dependent on the rate changing for them to do these steps, okay? Like banking system reforms, supporting that, implementing it. They've been talking about that, I think, since early 2024, the first half of 24, with Oliver Wyman and Ernst & Young, okay? Key points. PM's leadership, Prime Minister Z chaired the second session, and anyway, yeah, so for them to really do all this, a lot of these steps are critical and dependent upon the rate changing of what they discussed concerning or regarding the monetary stability aspect. The salary crisis is under discussion in Parliament. The finance minister is exploring ways to address the economic situation. Yeah, it's called revalue your currency and implementing your banking reforms. Ding dong. Guys, I think we're very close. That's really it, guys. The big one I wanted you to see was exactly what I've been telling you forever, and now the news is finally catching up. Okay, it was this right here, where they said, first paragraph, MP from the Sodaquin parliamentary bloc confirmed today, Sunday, that the names of the 9 missing vacant candidate positions for the cabinet will be announced next week. And I suggested to you that if they're going to do this in August, the day they would probably vote on it, purely my opinion, could be wrong, would be probably Saturday the 22nd. And now they're saying that the 9 ministerial portfolio names will probably be announced next week, which is the week of Saturday the 22nd. There you go. Can't make that stuff up. Anyway, good stuff, guys. Let's go over to your crazy comments. Again, it's a lighter, quieter news day. One thing I want you guys to think about too. Do you guys know what you're going to do regarding a trust? Okay. Do you, trying to enlarge this a little bit so when we get into your comments you can see. Anyway, do you know what you're going to do? Have you considered a trust? Okay. Here's another thing. Can you avoid taxes 100% when the rate changes? Let's talk about that. Have you considered a banking situation? I will be opening a bank. Let's tear on all that real quick. Let's blast through it. Just little things to consider. This is not my financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. What I'm going to tell you was a discussion I had with a trust attorney, one-on-one, him and myself. Okay. I asked him, I said, can we avoid taxes out of the gate when this happens? He said, no, because you have no choice but to go from Iraq dinar and exchange into US dollars. Once you do that, it's a taxable event. You will pay taxes out of the gates. You can reduce your taxes. There's ways to lower, but you won't eliminate. Okay. He said, along with research I've done, that it's not treated as capital gains. It's treated as personal income on the taxes. Okay. You can reduce them because, again, there's some states that don't even have state taxes, so you can reduce it to federal, that kind of thing. And through tax professional advice, there might even be ways to lower and reduce your actual federal level of taxation, but that's where those experts come in that you would consult with. And then from there, what does a trust do for you? Okay, you don't need a trust to exchange. And out of the gates, what the attorney told me is that he said if he were in the situation when he goes to exchange, he would actually exchange under his personal Social Security number, not a trust anyway, because he said by doing that, he said the taxes are lower overall under you and your Social, not the EIN related to a trust. Okay, he just said the taxes are just lower regardless going that route. So that's what he would do. Okay, I researched it and research confirmed his accuracy. Okay. So what is the purpose of a trust? Well, trusts With a trust, you own nothing, but you control everything. So again, it gives you asset protection. So, you own multiple assets. If you own a lot of assets, let your trust own them. So if somebody went to sue you, you don't own anything. You don't own anything at all. Okay. So again, a trust will give you asset protection, and it'll help you control your wealth and all that, and reduce taxation. And then there's things you can do to a trust to reduce your taxes long term. Like people have attacked locations like people have attacked like Donald Trump and other wealthy people, saying that they don't pay their fair share of taxes. Why and how do they do that? Well, myself and another gentleman that specializes in whole life policy or whole life insurance policies. Okay, let's talk about how those work. Those are very significant. We're going to open a bank. He's going to bring those forward through our bank. Okay, whole life insurance policies. For one, they're insured. So if you have families, kids, if anything happened to you, if you pass away, it's insured. For one, your money's insured. That's one big one. Two, okay, it allows you to be your own bank in there. When you are your own bank, when you write loans to yourself, being your own bank because it's your money, right there, that's one way you can defer taxes is through writing loans to yourself. You don't pay taxes on loans. These policies and strategies were created by the wealthy for themselves, okay? The JP Morgans, okay? The Rockefellers, those individuals are the ones that created these principles and strategies so they could lower, avoid, and reduce taxes from their professional angle, okay? So and the bank we're opening is not standard. It's called a CDARS bank, which gives you FDIC insurance all the way up to $50 million. We're doing this for many reasons. For one, through the FDIC insurance to cater to Dinar investors. Two, there's probably a good chance there could be a recession coming for just, maybe towards the end of the year. Okay. And if that's the case, you don't want to be invested in dollar-based items such as maybe the stock market. You don't want to be in there, okay? You might want to be in more in metals, gold, silver, maybe cryptos, maybe whole life insurance policies, okay? Which is what I just talked about. The whole life policies always have held strong through recessions and dollar crashes. They do. They hold very strong. Okay, and he told me they kind of average, or right now are averaging around 7 to 10% returns, rate of returns, okay? So they do very well, but again, they allow you to be a bank, and you can write loans to yourself and defer taxes through that strategy. Very good principle concept right there, okay? So I wanted you guys to understand all that. Talk about real quick the banking, the trust, some different routes you could invest, how to protect it long term. I'm not a financial advisor, but it's strongly recommended afterwards to stay away from the dollar. I mean, to an extent, you got to stay in the dollar because we live in the United States. Our primary currency is the US dollar, and our livelihood from a financial angle revolves around the dollar. But there's ways you can reduce your amount of investments within the dollar. Okay, we all have to stay in the dollar to an extent. We have no choice, but we can reduce the amount we're in the dollar. Okay, you can do metals, gold, silver, you can do different cryptos, you can do you can do whole life policies, that kind of thing. So there's ways to reduce not being directly in the dollar, such as the stock market. So if we had a really bad market crash, recession, whatever, that some of the stocks could just tank and fall off the cliff, and that helps with all that. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get into your guys' comments. I wanted to go over all that with you guys. All right, so that's up. Good. Here we go. Happy Sunday to all you. NSET Gaming says they love this space. Didn't the U.S. just lift sanctions on an airline company in Iraq? Yes, they did, and let's talk about that. That was not significant. It was literally one airline that had ties with Iran, and because they were too close to Iran, they were basically regarding money and things like that with Iran. They were just defying and betraying the U.S. OFAC banking sanctions on Iran by the U.S., and they were defying those financial sanctions on Iran by the U.S., and that's why they were sanctioned. But they recently got the sanctions lifted. That aspect has nothing to do with your investment, so it's nothing for you to worry or concern about, unless you want to. Okay, but again, it has nothing to do, no bearing on this investment. Good Sunday to you, Dinar Investor. Good Sunday to you, Natalie. Thank you for your diligent updates. Melanie highly recommended to me to watch her YouTube channel. Tell her I said thank you. I like the true fact forecast. Again, thank you. Hey, you're more than welcome. Hey, Jeff, isn't the Iraq dinar in-house government cross-border? No, for cross-border and everything right now, they're using the dollar. That's why you've seen in recent news that the U.S. Treasury just sent, remember, we have sanctions on them. So right now they use the dollar for trade. That's why yesterday, in yesterday's news, it clearly said that we, the U.S., just sent them, I think it was, whatever, 500 million, 500 billion, whatever the amount was. I thought it was 500 million. Okay, U.S. dollars, which is their OFAC. I'm sorry, I mean, that's their OPEC oil money. They just use that. They use the dollar for trade, which are their OPEC dollars, okay? What is the RV rate, do you think? I think the rate's going to be somewhere around $3.80. That's just my opinion. No one knows the rate, but historically they were higher than Kuwait. Great point, NSET. You're absolutely correct. They've always been historically above Kuwait, where today Kuwait's around 325. Okay. Good old Jerry McLean. Okay. Recently I've stopped watching all the RV channels except yours. God has blessed you with wisdom and knowledge on this subject, and it shows. Thank you. And just so you guys know too, God guides me in this space. A lot of the work I do, I just, God kind of guides me and shows me things. And again, I'm just here to stick to the facts. I'm not here to hype it up. I don't want this to be an emotional roller coaster for you guys. I don't want you on that. I'll get started when we get the official date that they're going to have and hold that cabinet session of Parliament. Yeah, for me it'll become a roller coaster. I'll get super excited, and I'll share a lot of critical things with you guys. But we're close. We could be within roughly 2 weeks of that. Okay, we're not there yet, and that's not tomorrow. Okay, we're very close though. And again, thank you guys for your nice compliments and support. I appreciate all you guys. If anyone gives you a rate, they're lying to you point blank. Absolutely. Breath of fresh air versus hot air coming from the islands out west. I got plenty of hot air where I live. We're always over 100 degrees. For Canadian, taxes are only paid on interest earned. It is still recommended to have a tax attorney ready. Absolutely. Stick with the tax attorney, guys. Don't rely on these fake people that create trust and all that. I'm very interested in this. This is fabulous info. Yeah. Myself and my business partner Bruce, he's a God-fearing Christian man. He's an amazing guy. He's a licensed financial. He's a financial advisor. That's his day job. He has a lot of amazing things that I was seeking, that we're all seeking and need. Didn't know they exist, such as what you can do through these whole life policies. Are amazing. I've put a lot of studies out on these matters for you guys right here on my YouTube space, just to give you some general understanding and overview, so that before the rate changes, you could get a general understanding of what can be done with those and through those and working with them. Okay, you can just strategically compound things. Okay, so yeah, they're phenomenal. Okay, Jeff, you say several times that Iraq is going to go international. Does that mean for 23 years they couldn't go and do international business? Basically, yeah, it's not so much international business. There's still ways that they've been able to do international business via the OPEC dollar, like they've done trade. And for example, the government of Iraq has bought military weapons using the OPEC dollar. They have to secure their country. They have to protect it. They have to have a functioning military to secure and protect their country. So again, there's things that they've done and had to have done, but to protect their country using the OPEC dollar. But also from some other angles, there's certain and for example, to put let's say talking about ramping up and improving the electricity with their country, they've already done prior engagements with GE Electric. They've done prior engagements with Siemens Electric using the OPEC dollar. They've had to improve their electricity. Again, these are mandatory things, but there's some things they just couldn't do. So again, there's ways they've been able to do, because it's mandatory, that there's been ways they've been able to do certain aspects of international business with the OPEC dollar, because they had to make sure they had good electricity and ramp it up, and make sure they have good functioning power plants to get GE out there, get Siemens out there. Okay, they have to have military equipment. Those come from foreign foreign companies around the world. Guess what? They need it to secure their country. So again, there's mandatory things they had to do. But there's other things they can't do, like the HCL Article 140. Okay, when they do things like that, when again the international business part aspects, or it impacts more things like trade, and that trade expands their country. It creates more jobs. It does so much more for the country on an overall large scale. There's a lot of things like trade, getting the Escudia system going, okay, which from all those aspects will create jobs, bring in and attract foreign investors and foreign investment. Okay, it's a lot of things that it boils down to like that. Okay, bringing foreigners into new investment and trade, creating jobs, a lot of that. Get the citizens, bring more wealth into their local country, so that the more wealth you have brought into your country, that gets the citizens and more people spending money. The more people are spending money, the stronger your economy is. Okay, like the middle class, for example, within the United States. Am I going to have any classes for learning all of this? We will. Yes, after the rate changes, my business partner, Bruce, he's based out of Colorado. He's probably going to rent out a forum around or a conference room around the Colorado big airport, and he's going to rent out a conference room there, which already have resorts. Everything will be contained at one location, I think even right at the airport, so you don't even have to get a rental car. Fly in for a day unless you want to stay longer, but come in at least for a day. Join us. Bruce will give you the rundown on all this, tell you how it works, how tremendous these are, and everything they can do for you, give the full rundown. And then while that's in the background, around that, we'll be working on setting up our bank and getting that all ready to go for you guys, okay? A digital dinar has not been launched, there you go, on Coinbase or Forex handle. Melanie Hines is spreading false information. Thank you, Captain. Appreciate you, buddy. Again, and the central bank itself has not talked about any type of crypto or e-dinar. Hold on here. So far, your information is easy to understand, makes the most sense. Lauren Jackson, appreciate you. Jeff, when I share your videos on X, people are like, who is this guy and where can I find him? He's great. I'm just simply on. Thank you, Wildcat Fan 62. Appreciate you, and I know who you are. Guys, I'm on Substack. But all my real work is on Substack, and I'll give you guys a link you can all share. Actually, my links are also in these YouTube videos, just so you know. I've been starting to put links for my Substack work within all these YouTube videos. But anyway, there's a link for my Substack. That's where my raw articles are. And there's the link down there. So anyway, let's stay where we're at, though. And thank you for sharing my work. Again, just trying to keep it real and honest. I don't want you guys on an emotional roller coaster. I'd rather have you just in the real space, so you're calm and grounded. I prefer to stay calm and grounded and not get all hyped up in this. Does it have to go on Forex? No. You know what? So John Redding, let's talk about Forex in this. Is Forex owned by Iraq? Hell no. Okay? John Redding, let's say you drive a Honda. By you referencing Forex to Iraq, again, Forex is neutral third party to Iraq. Forex doesn't have a damn thing to do with Iraq. So, but John, you own a Honda. You're telling me that you take your Honda to the Ford dealership to get fixed. Ford has nothing to do with Hondas. They're not specialized in Hondas. They don't work on Hondas. But you're telling me you take your Honda to the local Ford dealership to get fixed. Why would you reference Forex, okay, in regards to the Iraq dinar currency? Forex is a third party. It's like Coinbase in this matter. It's like Coinbase. Does Coinbase have anything to do with Iraq? No. So to know, why would you not reference the central bank of Iraq? I for the life in me, that confuses me among people. But hey, if you want to go reference Forex to this, when it has zero to do with the country of Iraq or the dinar, you go do you. When your bank is go, Jeff, I will absolutely let you guys all know when the bank opens. It could take us 3 to 6 months. We're not going to develop or get the bank brought up from pure scratch. We're going to probably open it up within the country of Wyoming because they have some of the best tax laws and so forth. I mean, not country, state of Wyoming, sorry, and all that. Hold on here. Wow, this is great. Know that you are a believer. Absolutely, it's the best thing to be a believer. Let's see here. Yeah, that's great to have a conference. Absolutely, that's it's important to be knowledgeable in this space. Hold on here. Okay, Coinbase has crypto, but not yeah. There is no digital e-dinar, guys. There is no e-dinar anything. Anyway, no, John, and I'm not bashing you, buddy. And if you thought that, I apologize. I was trying to help you though. I'm getting you to think outside the box. That's what I was saying. Be careful how you think in this because, if Forex is third party, I personally would not associate anything that's not a direct relation to the country of Iraq or the dinar itself into this, okay? I mean, yes, we have some political aspects of this around the world, like U.S. politics that have brought some influence through time and over this. But again, the U.S. has also helped Iraq get their country turned around and restored and achieving stability for the past 23 years. So that's why U.S. politics are going to play a huge role in this because we've pretty much controlled them, turned around, and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's everything there. Anyway, guys, that's it. If you have any more questions, I can help you out. Just wanted to go through all that with you guys. We're getting a lot closer, as you see, but again, nobody knows the day when the rate's going to change. I sure as heck don't. Okay, it's just I know the rate cannot just change on any day of the month or any week of the month. There's a specific timing. If you understand some specific things, they're called remittance periods. That's how going clear back to May. I told you back in May, I suggested to you that going into June, you're not going to see critical steps in June till the middle to second half. We did around June 20th. They put a new central bank governor. I said the same thing about July. July 13th through the 18th is when the first critical step started. Iraq sent a massive delegation here to the United States, July 13th through July 18th. Again, middle to second half. I said the same thing back in July about August. I said it's going to be the middle to the second half of July. And then I suggested to you guys even weeks ago, I said, if things are going to happen in if things will happen in August, it's going to be more around the 22nd, that Saturday. And it's most likely going to be a Saturday they complete the cabinet. Again, there's things I know that you guys don't, and I'm not ready to let those cats out of the bag. I will share all that with you. On the Saturday, they go to do the cabinet. I will let every cat out of the bag so you know why it was critical, because it's important for you to know. But right now, I'm not ready to let it out. Okay? But as you see now, again, I don't know if August even is the month. But if it is, I suggested you would probably be on the around the 22nd when they might do the cabinet. And here we go. If we look at the most important article here on the screen, they say right here, the Sodaquin parliamentary bloc confirmed today, Sunday, the names of the candidates for the vacant ministerial portfolios will be announced next week. And yesterday, I suggest if we're going to see anything in August, it probably wouldn't be around next week until the 19th. And now they're revealing that to you. Boom. Let's look at the next paragraph. The political dialogues and meetings between the blocs have reached the final stages to finalize the formation of the ministerial cabinet. So there you go. And then right here, third one. He added the names of the ministries will be sent to PMZ, House Representatives, after they are finalized next week, and a date will be set for holding a session vote on completing the cabinet. There you go. Cannot make that up. Okay. Good stuff. Lots of good things that I've been sharing with you now playing out, now coming forward. Let's see if there's any other comments. Do I think other currencies will go at the same time? No, I actually don't. To me, I don't think this is a GCR. I don't believe it's a global currency reset. There's many that do. I don't. And I've got all my reasons why, and I've talked about that over a long time. So again, other content creators that speak of me highly, thank them for their doing that. I greatly appreciate that. And Ted, you're more than welcome, buddy. I appreciate you. Ted, I've known you for a long time. You're a good guy. Amy Abate, agreed, Jeanette. Okay. Don't when they say next week. You can think this week. You'll see nothing's going to play out this week. It's going to be next week. Mark my words. If it's August, it'll be next week, not this. Okay. I was reading you the article per verbatim. Melanie. Okay. All right. We're not going to sit here and talk nonsense about other people. We're good there. Anyway, we're good guys. You guys are the best. Love all you guys. Hope you have enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Be blessed. Have a great day and have a wonderful week, guys. I'm out as news moves forward and transpires on this. We will get all that covered. Okay. So, anyway,